Hi, my name is Ayla Schlosser, and I'm the co-founder and outgoing CEO of an organization called Resonate. My definition of feminist leadership is leadership in which there's a willingness to share power. So in traditional structures of power, the person at the top makes the decisions and usually holds on to power. As a feminist leader, it's my goal to constantly be trying to redistribute and share power, not just among my employees, but also among the people that we work with and for. So yeah, I would say my definition of feminist leadership is an active redistribution of power rather than a holding of power. The biggest challenges I've faced as a leader have been many. I would say one of the biggest challenges I've faced has just been my own ability to believe in myself. I think we can talk ourselves out of a lot of things, and it's taken me a lot of time to feel confident that I can and should have an opinion, be a leader, lead an organization. And so some of my biggest challenges have either been a direct or a derivative of my own ability to believe in myself, which subsequently impacts other people's ability to believe in me. So that has been one of my biggest overarching challenges, and there have been many others along the way. One of the greatest lessons that I've learned throughout this whole process is that there's no perfect time to do anything. I think we spend a lot of time planning and strategizing, and I had one mentor say to me, planning is everything and plans are nothing. So ultimately, we're gonna come across obstacles that we don't know how to deal with anyway, and so sometimes the best time to start is just now. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do whatever we can to get ourselves ready or to anticipate risks, but if we wait for there to be a perfect time, we'll never get anything done. And so sometimes we just have to start with what we have, just start when we can, do what we can with the resources we have available, and be willing to make mistakes. So I think that's a big part of when you don't have a perfect plan, which nobody ever has a perfect plan, recognizing that you will make mistakes, and so being open to learning from those through the process and working with that. Feminism is important to leadership in the same way that every ism is important to leadership. So right now we have sort of one traditional definition of leadership, which is the archetypal white male. And so feminism, but also racial or social inequality are also really important to leadership, because until we have leadership that is reflective of who we are as an organization, as a country, as a nation, as a world, we won't have organizations or systems that serve us as people. So feminism is important to leadership because it helps shape, feminist leaders will help shape an approach that is more inclusive of women. Similarly, leadership is important to feminism because especially as a white woman, there's a huge importance to an understanding that just being a feminist isn't enough. There's a whole lot of intersectionality that happens. And so understanding my role as a woman and being part of the sort of less powerful in that respect, but as a white person, I have a lot of power and have benefited from systemic racism in many ways. And so it's super, super important that because I have the capacity to understand what it means to be oppressed in one sense, that I use that to understand oppression in other ways versus using it to victimize myself and not stand up for other people. So that's a way in which I can't be a leader unless I recognize the ways in which I've been disadvantaged. Similarly, I can't be a leader unless I recognize the ways in which I have had advantage. And one example of feminist leadership is super present on my mind right now. And it comes back to my definition of feminist leadership as being sharing power. So I'm actually stepping out of my role as CEO of my organization that I founded, and I leave tomorrow. Tomorrow's my last day. And the reason that I'm doing that is because I think, so the organization works in East Africa, and we empower women and girls to be the leaders of change in their communities. And it's both hypocritical and impossible for us to continue to achieve that mission if we're led by a white woman. So I'm really glad that I was able to be here to get the organization started, but I wouldn't be being true to the values of the organization or to true feminist leadership unless I recognize that that type of organization can and should be led by East African women who are empowering each other then to create the changes that they want to see in their lives and their communities. So feminist leadership is about sharing power, and that could even mean getting out of the way or stepping down to make room for other leaders.